you've officially run out of excuses.
Listen to 90.3 WHPC anytime, anywhere on Odyssey.
Odyssey is a new audio app for music, news, sports, and podcasts. That's AUDACY.
The voice of Nassau Community College.
This is the award-winning 90.3 WHPC HD Garden City.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Play WHPC.
And available on Odyssey and iHeartRadio.
90.3 WHPC. The voice of Nassau Community College. Welcome to another edition of From the Press Box, here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Rob Leonard. Joining me is my co-host, and yes, I call him brother, Tim Leonard.
What is this music?
You don't know who this is?
I kind of vaguely remember. We're
Come on.
We're about to start talking about the most exciting weekend in New York sports in years.
Okay.
Years.
And
you're putting nap music on.
You don't know this song?
Whatever.
Come on.
No.
Tad. Erica Kane.
Yeah,
the
so
Martins.
What? So what?
It's all my children.
Yeah, and is there a point?
No.
Exactly. It's napping music.
It's not nappy music. It was a great... You're the one who got me into watching All My Children.
Oh, my God.
Do you remember when you started?
Stop.
You went down to Maryland to visit our cousins, and you watched a couple of episodes. And when you came back, you told me, tell me what happened to St. Erica. And I said, okay. And that's how
Tell me what happened yesterday to the Yankees, brother. Let's talk sports.
How I started watching All My Children. I was hooked for 20 years.
You should have been watching the Yankees. That was the mistake.
In 1980?
Yes.
1981?
Yes.
It's your fault, brother.
1980 and 81, the Yankees were going to the World Series. The Yankees were a playoff team every year.
They lost.
77, 78, they won the World Series.
Yeah.
81, they were in the World Series.
Lost to the Dodgers.
80.
What happened in 80?
I think they lost the World Series that year.
I don't know. Anyway, bro, let's talk about what happened in New York sports yesterday. Actually, it was a pretty good day for New York sports.
Unbelievable.
The Mets did not help out by not...
Don't spoil it.
They didn't win.
Don't even mention the Mets.
But if they had, it would have been actually maybe the best day in New York sports.
The season was over. It doesn't matter.
It does.
The Mets don't matter.
You always want to go out with a win at the end of the season, brother. You know that. Even if you're not in the playoffs, you want to make it. So next year, you think about the last game of last season they won and it was very impressive. And I saw a combination of players that maybe next year
we got 9:55 to talk about the Mets, brother.
Well,
that's when we're going to be talking about the Mets. Anybody planning on talking about the Mets? 9:55.
90.3 WHPC. Give us a call 516-572-7440. The Yankees won yesterday.
How about that?
Was it by chance, brother?
No.
I think it was. I think it was. No, yeah.
Where are you getting this stuff?
I mean, they barely made the wild card, brother. Come on. The Red Sox were already there.
Took care of business. The Red Sox were not already there. The Red Sox had to win their game playing against a vastly inferior opponent, the Washington Nationals, who I'm pretty sure lost 100 games this year. If they didn't, they lost 90-something.
By the way, Major League Baseball, the last game of the season should not have American League playing National League.
That I agree with.
That it should
not be interleague on the last game of the season.
No, that's stupid. This is where interleague is like the stupidest thing in the world.
You can have interdivision. Because obviously, if there's 5 teams per division, you're going to have some crossover.
Right.
But you should not have National League playing American League on the last day of the season.
Not when it means something. And you don't ever know it's going to mean something, so you have to make sure you're prepared. Major League Baseball's got to change that. I know they've kind of spread out the whole interleague play thing, which is stupid.
It used to be over the course of a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
it used to be a very
focused,
segmented part of the schedule. Now it's just from almost from day 1 to day 162.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's not good.
Anyway, the Yankees, they played very well. 1-0, they won.
How about that?
I have to say that hit, the infield was in. That hit was a horrible hit.
No.
Yes, it was. If he'd had that normal...
Judge ripped it.
No, he didn't. The infield hit?
I think you need to look at it again.
The infield hit?
Yes.
He hit it like it was like a crooked ball. The guy comes running in.
He hit a line drive that went off the pitcher's glove. Watch it again. Find it on YouTube, brother. You find it again, and you'll enlighten yourself.
It's still. He
hit a line drive that if the pitcher wouldn't have touched it, there was some speculation. Oh, would the fielder? The fielder
yes,
wouldn't have gotten it.
He was right over. He was hanging out at second base.
It would have zipped right through. He would have had to go 4 steps to his left on a drawn-in infield. There's no way he would have gotten that ball.
I don't know, brother. It looked like the guy was waiting for it.
Tyler Wade, who actually I didn't know this until yesterday. Tyler Wade might be one of the smartest players in baseball.
Really?
And you know why?
No.
Because he has made sure that he is good friends with Aaron Judge, which means Tyler Wade's not going anywhere. That's very smart. That's Gerald Williams smart. Because Gerald Williams made sure he was tight with Derek Jeter. Gerald Williams wound up spending 14 years in the major leagues.
You know what's smart? Fran Healy hanging out with Reggie Jackson.
Same thing. Fran Healy smart, Gerald Williams smart. Now it's going to be Tyler Wade smart. Because Aaron Judge was talking after the game, saying he was sneaking a look down at third base at his boy. They were having a little smile, and Aaron Judge knew all I got to do is get the bat on the ball, and Tyler Wade's going to score because that's my guy.
Well, it was very close. Let's put that way.
Tyler Wade would be a Yankee for like at least 3 or 4 more years, even though most Yankee fans can't stand him.
Well,
but he's not. He's a decent player to have around. He's the only speed they have really on the team. He can play multiple positions. You can plug him in anywhere. Not that he's going to be like a great defender anywhere, but he's a guy who at least he has a role and can play different spots. Well, if somebody gets hurt, you can plug him in.
You do need a player like that, a guy who can say, hey, can you play second base? Say, yeah, sure.
Sure.
Tomorrow, can you play left field? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You want to play first base? Sure, okay.
I don't know if he can play first base, but he's kind of short. But he's a guy who he's what they call a plug-and-play guy. Plug him in anywhere, he can play there. And as long as he doesn't have to do it for an extended period, then fine, let him play. Let him play a few games. Somebody's banged up. Like DJ LeMahieu's got, I don't know what's going on with his sports hernia thing. That's usually surgery. They put him on the 10-day injured list yesterday, so he's going to miss at least through the American League Division Series, assuming the Yankees beat the Red Sox, and I am going to assume that. But
you really think the Red Sox are going to lose?
Yes, I do.
I hear the Red Sox are one of the best teams in baseball.
You hear wrong.
My friend Bob Croce was telling me.
He's a mook.
He was saying, man, Rob, you should tell Tim.
Bob Croce, a.k.a. the mook from Boston.
He's saying you should tell your brother that the Red Sox are one of the best teams in baseball. And I said,
what does he know? He knows something.
And I said, I will, Bob.
You know how many months he's been saying the Yankees would not make the postseason?
I think
at least 3 months. He's made hundreds of what I call CIP. It stands for the Croce Idiot Prediction.
Yeah.
He's made hundreds of them. And then yesterday when I say, maybe you owe some Yankee fans an apology for making so many idiot predictions, and he says, I am never wrong. That's what he said. I am never wrong. And I'm like, the Yankees made the playoffs.
Yeah,
so
they did.
Wrong.
Well, is this technically the playoffs, brother? Is this
I personally, I've said this for years, and I'm not going to change my mind now because it's the Yankees. I don't consider this the playoffs. The playoffs are the American League Division Series, the American League Championship Series, and the World Series. Wild card game, I personally, I don't consider this playoffs. So if the Yankees somehow lose,
so this is game 163
tomorrow night, for me it is. Okay. Not for baseball. For baseball purposes, not. I don't want to confuse that. But my own personal opinion,
right?
That has nothing to do with Major League Baseball's opinion, which is that tomorrow's game between the Yankees and the Red Sox is a playoff game.
Right.
My own personal opinion is no, it's not. So they can, and apparently they want to add more teams to the playoffs next year, which I don't know what they're thinking.
My problem with adding teams to the playoffs is, you don't want to start playing in the second week of November. I mean, you want. If
they add playoff games, they will most likely cut the season to 154 games. You can't add even more playoff teams and not reduce the regular season. Now, the good thing for baseball would be that while you would have fewer teams playing in those expanded playoffs, chances are the attendance would be far higher. Because people will buy tickets for playoff games, even if they're watered-down playoff games.
Yeah,
but
true. People
want that excitement, and they want to be involved. Fans want to be involved in games that their team is playing that mean, quote unquote, means something.
Right. No, but I can't see them going down to 154. I can see day-night doubleheaders because I don't think the players want to lose 8 games. Because that means they'll get paid less.
No, they won't. That would be the negotiation. If you want extra playoffs, then fine, pay us the same amount.
Well, I can't see Major League Baseball. That's 8 games is a lot, brother.
It's 5%.
That's a lot of money. If you're making 10,
the owners would make that up in the expanded playoffs.
Yeah, but not every owner.
That money would be shared. All of that can be negotiated.
I don't know. I think
I'm sure the Yankees wouldn't appreciate
8
that.
into 162 is 1/20th, so 5%.
5%.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Don't question my math, brother.
5%'s a lot, brother.
I just said it.
If I gave you $100, which I wouldn't, I would,
You would want 5% back. I'd give you $5.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I do that because I'm a good guy.
But you don't have $100, so if you don't have $100, the extra 5 isn't something I'm not getting back.
I would have had $100 if Bob Croce would have bet me any of the hundreds of times that I said, fine, the Yankees aren't going to make the playoffs. Fine, $100 right now.
Well, he doesn't want to see
it. And then he goes and goes off into the corner of Facebook somewhere.
Well, I think he just doesn't want to see you homeless. That's all.
No, he doesn't want to see me win money from him. That's what he doesn't want to do.
Anyway, so let's talk about this. 1-0. This, was a tough game.
It was a tough game. Tough game to watch.
Yeah.
Tough game to watch. And this was all the while the football games were going on and that was the other thing that drove me nuts yesterday. Why are the Jets and the Giants playing at the same time?
Normally they don't.
I know that's what I'm talking about.
But
it's idiotic.
Occasionally they do because they. Usually it's because the 4:00 game is a national game, but I don't think that was the case yesterday. But I don't know. That's a very good question because
I'm flipping back and forth using that last button on my cable, and then the Yankee game comes on at like 3:10, and now I'm like, I need a button on my remote that goes 3 channels. Why don't we have that? Why don't we have that, cable TV people?
We used to have picture-in-picture. I know that, but they got rid of it. Well, at least Altice here.
All I know is that it was aggravating because I'm trying to go from Giants to Jets to Yankees, and I'm missing stuff. And every time I went back to the Yankees, the Rays were up again, and I'm like, what happened to the Yankees? They didn't do anything again. They had one hit through like 7 innings. It was ridiculous. I'm going out of my mind. I'm trying to watch that game. I was trying to watch the Yankees most of all because I was like, all right.
Well, out of the 3 games,
the Jets and the Giants would lose, and then they both won.
Yeah. Out of the 3 games, the Yankees obviously was the most important. To me, 1-0's a great way to win a game. Bottom of the 9th, you can't really
Aaron Judge, most clutch hitter in baseball this season.
You can't really ask for a more dramatic game than what the Yankees gave yesterday. So
it was just. I mean, look, the Rays make their living on games like this because they just keep running out guys who can throw 99. Mostly right-handed, in fact, pretty much all right-handers, especially against the Yankees, which is why, again, they got Rizzo and Gallo at the trade deadline, was to go up against the Rays especially. And it was the 9th inning, it was basically, all right, our playoff life is on the line right now.
Right.
Well, let's not bring this to the 10th inning with the stupid runner on second base nonsense and possibly let this get away from us. So what happens? Rougned Odor, brother, a guy who the Texas Rangers basically gave to the Yankees because they didn't want him anymore. They paid like 90% of whatever the $30 million or so that's owed to him, and they told the Yankees, here, give us anything for him. We'll pay $28 million of what he's owed of the 30, and you can have him. And he's been a good fill-in kind of guy, but he leads off because he's playing because LeMahieu has got this sports hernia thing that's got him on the shelf.
What's the difference between a hernia and a sports hernia?
Sports hernia needs surgery. So when the Yankees
you don't need surgery when you get a regular hernia?
Sometimes you do. It depends. A sports hernia is a tear. It's like, as far as I know, it's like a tear in like near like the stomach or the rib area. And it's a tear. So they call it a sports hernia, but it needs to be repaired.
To me, it's the same thing.
Well, it's not really, but anyway. So Rougned Odor singles. So finally, the Yankees get another hit. All right, Tyler Wade immediately comes into pinch run, of course. Gleyber Torres makes an out, but it was a productive out because he flied out to right field fairly deep. Tyler Wade tags up, gets to second base, and now the Yankees in. Now we're cooking. Now we got something going. So here comes Anthony Rizzo, the outstanding trade acquisition by Brian Cashman at the deadline.
Right.
He comes up, rips a bullet single, beats the shift because they got some guy out there playing like short right field as part of their shift.
Right.
Beats that guy, but he hit it too hard. So Wade's got to stop at third. Meanwhile, the throw was so bad. I was dying because the throw was so far up the third baseline. Tyler Wade could have walked home, and he would have been safe if they would have sent him. But with one out, I understand why they held him.
Sure.
Because Arozarena in right field's got a great arm, but his throw was 40 feet wide. It was a horrible throw. So now you got Aaron Judge, you got Giancarlo Stanton, the next two hitters, and there's one out, first and third. And now what? Well, actually, no, second and third, because Rizzo took second on throw. I think they're going to walk Judge. Why wouldn't you walk Judge? I don't understand why they didn't. But they decided not to. Because Stanton, as much as he carried the team 2 weeks ago and last week even, the last couple games, he's looked bad again. Yeah. He's swinging. He's just flailing his sliders, off-speed stuff. He's back out of sync. As much as he was in sync, now he's back out of sync. So I figured they would walk Judge, load the bases, one out, get a double play, look for the double play, and instead they pitched to Aaron Judge, who, if you look at the numbers, the analytics, who is the guy best batting average late in the game, close situation.
But I thought we hate
runners
analytics.
Are scoring. Well, in this case, Aaron Judge batting .364 in those situations, best in the major leagues. Slugging percentage third in the major leagues. So he's the guy who you shouldn't want to face in that situation, and instead they pitch to him, and he goes down 2 strikes. Battles his way back, and then gets the pitch that he can hit. A little slider, but smacks it up the middle, off the pitcher's glove. Here comes Tyler Wade charging down to the plate, head first slide. We're in the playoffs, baby.
And he didn't have to be, he could have waited. Really. Tyler Wade.
Why would he be wait? Wait for what?
He could have waited.
Wait for what?
I don't know.
He's not waiting. As soon as Judge makes contact, Tyler Wade's off.
Well, good point.
He's on the move.
So anyway, so it was a really good game. One for the record books, actually. If you want to, Yankee classics, that might be one.
It's going to be probably a Yankee Classic next. Actually, in a few weeks after they win the World Series, it'll be a Yankee Classic.
Yeah, and we should say Ken Singleton has retired. By the way, brother,
yes.
He was a longtime Yankee announcer. They have too many announcers, but he's one of the better ones. And of course, he goes back. I mean, he was with the Mets. He was with the Expos. He was with the Orioles.
Kenny Singleton gave a great stat because I guess somebody actually dug into the archives, did hard dig. Kenny Singleton, including yesterday, his career record broadcasting Yankee games, he was 696 games over 500.
Wow.
That's first of all, that's a long time announcing.
Yeah, but
that's a lot of winning.
You can probably say that about John Sterling too.
Well, sadly, probably, but
or Michael Kay. Or Susan Waldman.
But it means that Ken Singleton did the job for a long time, and he is the voice for a lot of Yankee fans. He is the voice that when they're talking baseball and when they were learning something about baseball, it was Ken Singleton's voice that they were hearing. Yeah,
he could have fit in very easily with the Mets, which is the greatest broadcast team right now.
Oh, jeez.
Keith and Ron and Gary.
It would be nice if Keith actually sounded like he wanted to be there.
Every day he wants to be there.
No, every day he wants to hang out with his cat.
Well, that's something else. I don't understand him and his cat, but it's a
little disconcerting. Bro.
Yes, it is. I admit that. I'm worried about him and his cat. At least the cat wasn't named Rusty.
Well, anyway, brother, I will bring this up, brother. Remember, we said 2 weeks ago that the Yankees had to go 10-2 to finish with 93 wins. We figured that was going to be what was required for the wild card. The Yankees went 9-3 in their last 12 games against a very tough schedule, except for the Texas Rangers. But they played the Toronto Blue Jays, they played the Boston Red Sox, and they played the Tampa Bay Rays. Every one of those teams won 90 games.
Right. Now,
and they went 9-3 against those teams.
9-3 is about what you expect. You wanted 10-2. I wasn't thinking 10, but
well, 10. I tell you what, 10-2 would have. 10-2. The wild card game is being played in Yankee Stadium tomorrow.
That would have been fun.
That would have been better.
Welcome to the New York jungle. So tomorrow, Tuesday, we have on ESPN, we have Yankees at Red Sox. And then for the National League wild card game, it's the Cardinals versus Dodgers on Wednesday on TBS at 8 p.m. So
Dodgers win 106 games, and they're in the wild card.
That's horrible.
That's just so wrong. It's so
yes,
wrong.
It is.
And the Cardinals have like a 17 or 18 game winning streak. So that's why they're in that game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're still considered a hot team because that was that winning streak ended about a week or 10 days ago, but obviously they did a lot to get where they needed to be. It's a dangerous team. The Dodgers are the reigning World Series champions, won 106 games this season, and their postseason could be one game.
Could be. Let's talk about the Jets. Wow, pretty good game, actually. This is maybe what Jet fans have been waiting for. I hate to say this, but the reaction was almost like, oh, my God, we won the Super Bowl, or at least we won the division championship.
They're happy they won. I don't have a problem with that.
I think, come on, pretend you've been there. But actually, they haven't. I know.
Coach Saleh hasn't been there. Well, actually, I guess he has with the 49ers. Zach Wilson hasn't been there before. First NFL win.
No.
Saleh, first NFL win as a head coach.
I thought Zach Wilson played very well.
He was outstanding.
And one thing I liked about him, he was running kind of all over the place, moving around a lot. And I think that, that's what I was expecting from Zach Wilson, not to get sacked all the time.
But that's still a line issue. The line did play better yesterday. Zach Wilson was better with his movement yesterday.
Yes, he was.
And he wasn't getting swallowed up. That's what led to a decent number of sacks in the first 3 games, is that the pocket just collapsed and there was really nowhere for Wilson to go. And I think he anticipated a little better yesterday. He's clearly learning, but I was just really impressed yesterday with the way Zach Wilson ran things, and just with his presence, and I wasn't so impressed with that in the first 3 games, but yesterday he just seemed more in control.
Yep.
He seemed more like he was the one dictating what was going on, and basically it was Zach Wilson saying, "Look, we're not losing today. I'm not going 0-4. We need to get a win, and today is the day to do that." Because I don't think anybody expected the Jets to beat the Titans yesterday, and I don't think anybody expected the Giants to beat the Saints yesterday.
No,
so it was two very surprising results for the New York football team.
I expected 0-4. I expected them to match records, actually, for the whole season.
Pretty much. I mean, I still think that we're looking at 2 teams that are going to be picking in the top 5, because if you look at the schedules, neither schedule favors either one of them. But for yesterday, I'll tell you what. I couldn't have been happier to be a New York football fan yesterday. Zach Wilson, 21 for 34, 297 yards and 2 touchdowns. Corey Davis, a wide receiver, 4 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown against his former club. All right, so he had a little motivation for yesterday. I still would like to see him get a little more involved in 4 catches. But the defense yesterday was the Jets' defense. And this is, again, obviously what Saleh is known for. He is a defensive guy. The Jets had 7 sacks yesterday. Quinnen Williams, the number 1 pick out of Alabama a few years ago, was a beast yesterday. And apparently Quincy Williams, who I didn't even realize that they were brothers, but they're brothers.
Like me and you.
Exactly. Quincy Williams had like 12 or 13 tackles. He was all over the field. He had a couple of crushing shots. And he was just blowing people up. And the 2 of them together, I mean, hey, Mrs. Williams, you got any more kids? Let's bring them in.
Well, Mom doesn't have any more kids. Well, Suzanne can come in and do sports with
anybody,
us.
It's whoever. Just get some Williams boys in there, and let's go. Let's get a defense.
I think our sister might want to talk about field hockey, though.
Probably.
Yeah.
So anyway, that for me, like the Jets, the touchdown pass to Davis it was a 53-yard touchdown, and the good thing about that was Wilson was in the pocket. He had some time to throw. He rolled out to the right, and he saw Davis, and he gives him the hand gesture, like go, just go. And Davis, smart receiver, veteran, hey, my quarterback tells me to go, I'm going to go. And here comes Wilson with woof, throws the thing on a line, 53 yards, touchdown. You can't do it any better than that. And that was 24-17. Then the Jets, the only bad part of the game was when they let the Titans tie the game late. Ryan Tannehill, another guy who like Sam Darnold, has gotten the Adam Gase stench off of him, and has turned into a very good quarterback. But he led the Titans downfield, and they wound up getting a touchdown. I thought they gave him too much room. I wasn't happy about that, and especially you can't let him get inside the 5 because they have Derrick Henry. He's the best running back in football. he's going to score from inside the 5, but they didn't even need it. They threw a pass. They got that. But then it was the Jets in overtime. And they got to a point, and this was, for me, the only disappointment about Zach Wilson on the day, is the Jets were down at the 1 yard line, a Tennessee 1 yard line. You got to punch that ball in. And Wilson took the ball. He was going to throw. He rolled right. He tried to make something happen, and he lost 4 yards.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't. You got to put that ball in the end zone. You got to find a way to put it in the end zone. So they kicked the field goal. Then the Titans drove. The Jets defense stopped them again. 49-yard field goal went wide left. It looked like it was a little short, too, but that was the game. It was like 16 seconds left in overtime, but that was the game. Jets win. Let's get some Gatorade bass going.
Well, they the fact that they won is, I thought, a pretty cool thing. I don't know if I'd be reacting the way the fans did. The Jet fans going crazy. But then again, you know what?
Why not?
It's only
it might be the only game they win all season.
It's the fourth game of the year.
Have fun. Party like it's the only game you're going to win all year, because it just might be.
That's a good point, brother. That's a good point. So anyway, we should say this. I didn't realize, is the AFC East really bad? Jets are 1-3.
Yeah, it is.
So are the Patriots and Dolphins, and the Bills. Joe Ritter's Bills are 3-1,
and haven't been overly impressive. Although they did win yesterday, 40-0. So maybe the Bills are back to being the Bills.
The weird part is the Bills are looking to maybe move out of Buffalo.
Don't buy into that.
I don't know, man.
Don't buy into that.
I don't know. They want a new stadium.
The Pagula family is trying to hold New York State hostage.
Right, but
I hate this stuff. I really hate this stuff.
Well, look what happened to Las Vegas. They got the Raiders.
Where are you going to move Buffalo? Talk about a fan base that would just turn on them completely.
Well, that's where the XFL comes in and says, we'll put a team in Buffalo.
On them completely.
Right, but there's...
No, the XFL. The Buffalo fan, I'll tell you what, they would just, I think most of them would turn their backs on football completely.
I don't know. That's a tough situation. I mean, the Bills Mafia is maybe crazier than the Raiders.
That's why you don't leave. Or if they do leave, somebody else might move to Buffalo.
I'm not sure who. I mean, but who knows? I mean, there are a lot of teams. I really get bothered about the holding hostage of cities. I mean, at least the Jets and the Giants, they co-own and co-built, MetLife Stadium. It's a crappy stadium. I don't like this stadium at all, but at least they own it.
I mean, it's new.
And the Yankees,
that's the nicest thing I can say.
The Yankees
about
and the Mets paid for their stadiums. So of course, there was some tax
pretty
breaks.
much, yeah.
There's a lot of tax breaks.
Yeah, a lot of tax breaks.
So,
but so anyway, yes, the Jets. I am. When I look at the AFC East, brother, I see it like this: Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots. That's my order for the AFC
I had a dream this morning that Bill Belichick was Satan. And so, just want to
That's
let
not
you
a
know.
dream, brother.
I know.
It's not a dream.
Anyway, the Jets travel to London. I wonder if they've already gotten on the plane.
They probably should. They should if they haven't.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. I don't. You see, this. It used to be.
They're going to be the home game against the Falcons.
It used to be that a team would go to London and play on the bye week, but I guess not. I guess maybe next week is a Jets bye week. Maybe when they come home.
Maybe.
But, the Jets will be playing at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, brother.
I'm surprised you're not there, brother.
I wish I could be. That would be awesome. You got points? We should go.
You'd see the Jets and then the Hotspur a couple of days later.
Tottenham.
That would be like, wow.
Well, actually, no, because it wouldn't, because the Jets are playing. The reason that they're playing this weekend at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is because the soccer is on an international break.
Oh, okay.
So...
Okay, well, that makes sense.
But Tottenham also, we've talked about this, they have a full field that they just wheel in, and they put it on top of the soccer field.
Really?
Yes, it's amazing.
Literally
a 100-yard field that's basically on wheels. So this way they don't tear up the soccer field.
I guess they do it in quarters and then tighten it together.
I think it's like one big thing.
How do you get it in?
Because they have this enormous amount of land over there. And it goes like underground or something. It's all.
Oh, I can see it going.
It's
underground.
all weird, like hydroponics and whatever. But they make grass.
It's like
beautiful.
Radio City, where the stage moves and it goes into the floor, and then it comes back up, and there's another stage.
Exactly.
Anyway, we're going to take a break right now. You're listening to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 WHPC. If you have a comment or question, give us a call 516-572-7440.
Come on, everybody. Let's sing along with Bruce.
Join me, Kim Tracy, for the music of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band on Thunder Road, Sundays at 1 p.m. on the Voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC and on the iHeartRadio app.
Frank Sinatra.
Bing Crosby.
Ella Fitzgerald.
Dean Martin.
Hey guys, what are you doing?
We're making a list of artists you don't hear on the radio anymore.
Wait, I know where you can hear all of them and more.
Where?
Right here on Standard Serenade. Join me, Glenn DeMilt, for 2 hours of great songs by the great stars. Saturday afternoon at 5 on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
All hit music. For all those songs radio has forgotten about. Join me, Big Ed, Mondays from 10 a.m. till noon for The Good Gold Show. We'll bring back all the great hits of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and more. The sounds of doo-wop to disco, all the Motown, soul, and great rock and roll. We'll even take your requests and dedications to The Good Gold Show. Music. On the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC, and streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
Getting a flu shot helps us stay healthy, so we don't miss out on what matters. Like that family movie night your daughter can't live without. Yeah, can't do that. Every year, millions of people in the U.S. get the flu. Especially now, no one has time to miss out on moments that matter. So get your flu shot. Find out more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
On November 13th, Felix Unger was asked to remove himself from his place of residence. That request came from his wife. Deep down, he knew she was right, but he also knew that someday he would return to her. With nowhere else to go, he appeared at the home of his childhood friend, Oscar Madison. Sometime earlier, Madison's wife had thrown him out, requesting that he never return. Can two divorced men share an apartment without driving each other crazy?
90.3 WHPC. One of the greatest TV shows ever.
Again, I don't disagree with you, brother. I have no idea why you're playing it. None at all.
There's no bones in that. That's boneless chicken. How did it walk?
All right.
Anyway, by the way, the game, I just want to say the Jets-Falcons game in Tottenham Hotspur
Stadium
is going to be at 9:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And it's only available on the NFL Network. So
That's probably correct.
So it's not available on the regular channels here. That's not too good.
Well, that's been typical.
But then again, in New York, they should show it because the rule is if it's on the NFL Network and you have the home team, they can show it it'll probably be on Channel 11 or something.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, 9:30 in the morning because London is 5 hours ahead of us, so it's 2:30 in London.
Right.
I used to have to. I often got that game when I was working at CBS.
Right.
Basically, I had to come in by myself because there's nobody there yet. You know, if you're lucky, maybe there's like a bagel sitting around or something. But you're sitting there alone in the cube, just watching the game, and it's like, okay, it's kind of chill, but.
Yeah, well.
I kind of like it when there was like at least a couple other people around, and
it
then
always
people
helps,
would just kind of
helps.
wander in. But yeah, that was so that now we get to be like it is on the West Coast. But
right,
you wake up and you watch football.
Right. So anyway, let's talk about the Giants. They defeated the Saints 27-21. Daniel Jones again. Both quarterbacks for the New York football teams played the way we've been expecting them to play.
Yes.
For the first time,
although it took Zach Wilson 3 games and it took Daniel Jones 3 years. So
yeah, but you know
what? A
what?
bit of a learning curve there.
Yeah, but there's been more of a forgiveness for Daniel Jones than we'll say any quarterback right now for the Jets.
Pretty much.
Sam Darnold wasn't given much time, and
Sam Darnold currently leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns, bro. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
There you go.
That tells you a lot.
I'm telling you, he's getting that gay stink off of him. Like Tannehill did. I said that. What did I say that 2 years ago?
Who? The stink? What stink?
Gase.
The Gase.
Adam Gase stench.
Okay.
Getting it off of him.
Make sure you said the S there, brother.
I did.
Yeah. Okay, just making sure. Anyway, so the Giants, I mean, they're down 21-10 in the fourth. And now this is where the Giants usually fall apart, when they're losing by this much in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, usually it's just, let the other team add another touchdown, and maybe we'll add another field goal, and 28-13 loss. And
people say, they almost scored 2 touchdowns. So,
I tell you what, when it was 21-10 in the fourth quarter, I was getting all ready to blast the Giants today. Because, again, not enough points, just totally inadequate, and then they just turned it on. And they actually got stuff done. And that was, to me, amazing. First of all, Daniel Jones threw for 400 yards. 402 was the actual. When was the last time that Daniel Jones threw for 400 yards? Because it's never as a Giant. It's a career high as a Giant. I mean, we got to go either back to Duke or we got to go back to high school. Because Daniel Jones hadn't thrown for 400 yards in who knows how long. No. It's been a very long time. So, 28 for 40, 402 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Those numbers, brother, those are real quarterback numbers.
Yes, they are.
And we rarely can say that about Daniel Jones, that he's putting up real quarterback numbers.
We can barely say that about Giants quarterbacks since Eli retired,
Well, I mean, Eli has only been retired a couple of years.
I know, but
but even Eli wasn't putting up 400 yards.
No, but even before, he was sort of fading away even a year or two before, if you think about him. And we all love Eli because he's a younger brother to the more mature, handsome brother in the Manning family.
I wish the listeners could see me rolling my eyes over here.
Just like I am the better-looking and smarter brother in the Leonard family compared to my brother Tim. But Tim knows some things.
Go ahead and buy into that if you want to.
I buy into it every day.
We should all feel good about ourselves.
We should.
Anyway, the Giants were down 21-10 in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Daniel Jones hits Saquon Barkley on the left sideline. And Saquon does what Saquon does. He breaks a tackle and takes it 54 yards to the house.
That's what you want.
Because that's what Saquon Barkley does.
That's what you want from him. Every time he gets the ball, you want him to be running down the field.
Every time he gets the ball, he can use those 29-inch thighs or whatever his. I mean, he's got massive legs. But he can break a tackle. And once he breaks a tackle, he's fast enough to go, even with the knee surgery that he had. And now he's recovered. And every week, he looks a little more... Like, it's not like Saquon Barkley was breaking tackles all the time.
No.
Because nobody does that. But you could count, before the knee surgery, you could count on him doing that probably at least once a game. Where he would turn something that looked like it was going for nothing, and he'd turn it into a 40-yard gain or a touchdown or whatever. But he did that twice yesterday.
Beautiful.
And that's what we're looking for. So he gets in for the 54-yard touchdown. Daniel Jones runs into the 2-point conversion. Now it's 21-18. Now it's a ball game. Then Graham Gano kicks a late 48-yard field goal to tie the game, send it to overtime. Gano actually missed a 35-yarder earlier in the game that snapped his consecutive field goal streak at like 37 or some absurd number. I can't believe he missed a 35-yarder. It was a chip shot. But the Giants win the toss in overtime and just drive the ball downfield like it's nothing. Like it's absolutely nothing. And I'm like, who is this team? This isn't the team I've been watching for 4 weeks now. Where did this team come from? Daniel Jones being competent, holding onto the ball, not fumbling, hitting receivers. Here's Kadarius Toney. Here's Kenny Golladay. Who is this guy? I can't believe it. Here's one week where I can't say anything bad about Daniel Jones.
Nah, not
I don't know
this
what
week.
to do with myself.
We have less to talk about because of this.
But we have a win to talk about, so we have more to talk about.
That's true.
So what happens? The Giants drive the ball downfield. Saquon gets it close to the end zone and again, does what Saquon does. Uses those massive legs, starts leaning into the end zone. Guys are trying to tackle him, trying to stop him. Saquon said, I'm not having this. And he gets close enough to the end zone. He reaches the ball over the goal line. Thank you. Touchdown. Game over.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
Yep.
And this was the first game back from New Orleans because they've been actually playing in Dallas because of Hurricane Ida.
Oh, really? I didn't know
this
that.
was their first game at home. So sorry I had to spoil that. But hey, Giants needed a win.
And we should say that next week, the Dallas Cowboys are 3-1. The Giants are 1-3. But I sense, brother, that after this week.
Don't say it, brother.
I will.
Don't say it. Don't get swept up.
I'm being swept up.
Don't get swept up.
The giant broom is picking my fat butt up.
No.
I really think the Giants are going to win. You want to know why? Because I think there's something about the Cowboys that Jerry Jones being owner, they always screw up along the way.
Cowboys have been playing well this year.
I know, brother, but they started playing. They played beginning of last year well.
Although,
look what happened.
who'd they play yesterday? I'm trying to remember. Who did Cowboys play yesterday?
I'll tell you in a second.
Tell me in a second. But they had a big lead, and they basically held on to win. They were up by 17 or 20 or something like that.
36 to 28 over the Panthers.
And they won by 8 over the Panthers.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold. He's playing well.
Yeah, look at that. 36, that's a lot of points to score.
It's a lot of points. And Dak Prescott is playing very well. And the Cowboys' defense is still a little bit lacking, but it's at least better than last year. Last year was awful. It's dreadful. But Dak Prescott is playing very well. To me, Matthew Stafford from the Rams is still, even though the Rams lost yesterday, is still, to me, the early MVP favorite.
Right.
But Dak is in the conversation.
Well,
he's top 3.
But he's been expected to play better than he has.
Not
been.
really. Not. I mean, he's expected to be a good quarterback because he's now making the money that a good quarterback makes.
Right.
But I don't know that anybody ever really expected him to be one of the top quarterbacks. He's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't insult him by saying he's not a good quarterback. But I don't know that he's in that, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes.
Right. No, he's probably
group.
not.
He's not in that group.
But you know what? When you're a Dallas Cowboy, you're expected as a quarterback to have higher.
There are expectations that come with the
higher
job.
expectations because look at the history of the Cowboys quarterbacks.
Hey, you got Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman. That's about it. Danny White doesn't qualify in that group.
You don't think Danny White?
No.
Tony Romo?
No.
No.
Romo was all right. He was a good quarterback.
Craig Morton?
He wasn't there that long.
Okay.
Played for the Giants and the Broncos.
Okay, just checking, my brother.
So, Staubach and Aikman basically is what it comes down to. But those two, I mean, those are two guys that if that's the expectation, then that's a Hall of Fame expectation.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, brother, big story. We're going to talk about soccer, but it's not really a soccer story, but it contains.
Yeah, go to my
soccer
Facebook page, brother. Get the story is with
well, let me start it, brother. It's the NWSL, the National Women's Soccer League, which has had a following. They have some games on the CBS Sports Network. They have some on CBS Sports, on regular CBS. There is a certain following for certain teams. The Portland Thorns, they're drawing 25,000 people a game. So,
very popular in certain markets.
Yeah, but in our area, they're really not, which is unfortunate.
We have Gotham FC, which they used to be Sky Blue. They used to play down around Rutgers area. Now they play at Red Bull Arena.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
Again, a lost team playing in our area because no one knows who they are. Gotham FC,
Well, that was a name change. It's better than Sky Blue. I don't know where Sky Blue ever came from. Gotham is New York. I mean, that's
Yeah, but it's also Batman. So.
Yeah, but that's it's cool with the kids.
Yeah, well, the kids aren't going. So anyway, I hate to say this, but this involves a male coach basically using his team as a possible dating pool.
Well, the male coach with serious Long Island roots too.
Yeah, so give us the background, bro. I'm very disappointed about this.
Well, this all started. First of all, let's start with this. The NWSL suspended matches, all of their matches over the weekend, which is that alone, that drastic a move tells you the significance of what happened here. It started with an article by Meg Linehan from The Athletic. That detailed claims of sexual coercion against North Carolina Courage head coach Paul Riley, who was a former coach with the Long Island Rough Riders.
Right.
That's the Long Island Tie. So the questions that are being asked about this league right now is basically, can it survive?
Yes, it can.
Because it's a lot for you to say, brother, when you're not the person with the money.
I'll tell you why, brother. First of all, Megan Rapinoe, whatever, I'm sorry, She's already said to burn it down. And as a player, as a female soccer player, she is saying this is the stupidest thing I've heard in a while in concerning sports. I'll tell you why. Hold on, no. If let's say tomorrow they say, you know what, we're gonna end the league. Guess what? It's going to take 3 years to start another one. And
I don't think it would.
I think it would. By the time they reorganize, it's going to take 3 years.
I think they probably could get a league together again in a year.
Nope.
But they would need, obviously, it would be a lot of the same people.
It'd be exactly the same people. So why blow it up to start it over to do what they're going to do?
Here's the point. And the point that was being made is the right one and a good one, is that what Paul Riley is being accused of, and of course Riley is denying that he did anything wrong, but the accusations of sexual coercion and misconduct were made by two of his former players, Sinead Farrelly and Mana Shim. Farrelly was talking about that while she was with, this was even another league, this was women's professional soccer, with the Philadelphia Independents in 2011, that Riley, who was the team's head coach back then, would buy her shots. I mean, first of all, why is a coach out partying with his players? That's just a bad look in the first place.
It never stopped Davy Johnson.
Well, I mean, first of all, look, he's I'm being kind here, a middle-aged man.
Yeah, I know.
You don't go out partying with your 20-something-year-old players.
No. Well, there's times when you bond, and there's times when you say, you guys take care, I'm going to go home. I mean, Davy Johnson was not known was known for enjoying his drink or two, and he had this team that was perfect for him, but this guy shouldn't be doing this. It is a little bit different.
It's different because he's the coach, and it's a male female situation. He shouldn't be out with his players, but then it's the allegations are that he bought her shots. He bought the team drinks. She was coerced into having sex with him and spending the night in his hotel room. That's right. What's being reported, and it's this. I'm getting this from Soccer America. And then early in that season, Farrelly was called up to the U.S. national team preparing for the World Cup in Germany, and she said she turned down a second call up because Riley told her that she had been disloyal to the Independents and to him. What's that about?
I have no idea.
That's some very strange stuff.
Yeah, that's...
And then Riley coached Farrelly for the Long Island Fury, another Long Island team, after the WPS folded, and then at the Portland Thorns, where he was hired in 2014, and that was with the NWSL after they started up. So he's had a lot of interaction with this player, and what can she do? It's not like the NWSL. It's not like you can say, well, I don't want to play for this guy. Make me a free agent. It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't.
The only people who have that power are the players from the national team, like Alex Morgan, like Megan Rapinoe, like Carly Lloyd,
right?
Because they are the draws in this league. Those are the players that the casual fan wants to see.
Right. And that's why if you're going to watch any of those games, on CBS, the NWSL, and I have actually, because I like watching the women's soccer.
Yeah,
I think
same here.
And it plays different than the men's because they just the way they play. So I mean, I can understand as a coach, you want to bond with your team, but you shouldn't be hitting on your team as possible dates.
Exactly.
That's
or possible sexual partners.
No, well,
it shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't, but this is where things. I don't want to approve what he did because I don't, but there are times when people are attracted to each other.
Players and coaches should never.
I agree with that.
Be in that situation.
I agree with that, but
ever.
I'm not saying it.
Period.
It could happen though.
Let's put it this way. Somebody has to be the adult, and the adult is supposed to be the head coach.
Well, I agree with that.
So the head coach shouldn't be the one encouraging it.
No, he shouldn't be. If you're going to buy drinks, you buy for the whole team. You don't buy for the girl who you're sort of eyeing and say, "Hey, here's a couple extra drinks."
You know what?
Here's the key to my room.
If I'm the coach, I'm in the bar. I say, hey, round of drinks on me, first round, and then I'm out of there.
Right, you go home.
And then I'm out of there because I'm going back to my hotel room, and I'm going to review the tape from the game that we just played. So, anyway, Mana Shin went to the Portland Thorns with incidents in 2015. She went to the Thorns about incidents that took place between Riley and her.
Right.
Shim was interviewed by, and I'm reading from Soccer America. Shim was interviewed by the Thorns Human Resources Director as part of the club's investigation, advised by an outside law firm, as was Farrelly, in relation to Shim's accusations, but not her own. All right? So later on, Shim tells The Athletic that she was told she did not have a legal claim, and the reason was because she had deleted the texts that Riley had sent her. Because she deleted them. They said she didn't have... I mean, that's just, first of all, it's absurd.
Well, first of all, as a person who saved my texts...
You save everything.
Yeah. If there's something you feel uncomfortable with, you have to save it to show your proof.
But here's the other thing, though, that drove the players crazy, is that the NWSL commissioner, Lisa Baird, said, expressed the usual outrage that you would expect from a commissioner about, and then she called them new allegations. These allegations are 5, 6, 7 years old.
Was she still the commissioner?
10 years old. And for her to say that they're new allegations, no, they're not. And the NWSL allowed this guy to get 2 other jobs after these allegations were brought up. He coached the Western New York Flash and then went to North Carolina after the Flash folded.
Right.
So they knew about this. Lisa Baird actually resigned. She resigned on Saturday, I think it was. Saturday or Sunday, one or the other. So at least she did the right thing.
Right.
Because how a commissioner didn't know about this or claimed not to know about this, she's lying. Plain and simple. She's lying. And the commissioner's job, especially in these circumstances that are being detailed by players, the only job the commissioner has is to protect the players. The coach is being a predator. You have to protect your players.
Right. No, that I believe. That part is real.
That is the issue that Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan and Megan Klingenberg and several of the national team players who play in the NWSL, that is what they are concerned about. And that is why all of the games were suspended this weekend.
Right.
Because the other issue that the national team players were dealing with is they get paid from U.S. Soccer, not from the league.
Right.
But as part of their contracts with U.S. Soccer, they're not allowed to go on strike. Okay. And that includes for the NWSL. Okay, so if the national team players would have said, would have boycotted and said, look, we're not playing this weekend, then they would have been in violation of their U.S. Soccer contract.
Yeah, and I think the league did the right thing by canceling, even though that's where the
100%
games are.
the right thing.
That's where the games are. It's when you get to see them on TV. But I don't think the league should disband because, like I said, it's going to take 2 to 3 years, more like 3, to get the league back on, or any league of women's soccer. And there have been many so far. The WUSA, WPS, now NWSL. If you want to get women's soccer, which I think out of all the women's sports is the one that can hang on and become something, you have to say, okay, you know what? This was a bad thing that happened. We're going to make sure it doesn't happen again, but we're not going to blow up the league the way Megan wants to do it. I'm sorry.
She doesn't want to blow up the league.
She said
you're taking it the wrong. She wants players to be protected.
Yeah, but she said to burn it down. She didn't say let's protect them. She said burn it down. And I don't.
You're getting hung up on terminology and phraseology.
Yeah,
Megan Rapinoe tends to be a little extreme.
So says the writer across from me.
Yeah, well, that's
what you do.
You're taking it the way you want to take it.
No,
not the way she meant.
I don't want the league to go away. And
neither does Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah, but at the same time, she should be saying, since she is the face of women's soccer, she should say, we're going to work on this with the league, and we're going to figure it out, and we're going to keep the league, and this is not going to happen again. Because that's the only way to save this league.
Well, what is the league going to do to make sure it never happens again? That is the question.
Well, you start
because it's happened. It's happened more than once.
Right, but you know what? It's not going to happen in the next week. So what you do is you finish your season off. You set up committees and you start working it out. This is not going to happen overnight.
Well, something needs to happen. That's the whole point.
But it's not going to.
That's the whole point. And again, I will say, I'm going to say this again. Riley had told The Athletic in the interview, he claimed, he first of all said that, he said, the quote, the majority of the allegations were completely untrue. The Athletic actually submitted 23 questions to him via email. Riley said, and I'm quoting, I have never had sex with or made sexual advances towards these players. Clearly the players have a different story.
Well,
so the fact that they are accusing a coach of this kind of behavior, it doesn't make any sense. If he's claiming he never did this, either A, he was too drunk to remember, or B, he's just lying.
Well, he also has the right to defend himself.
Of course, absolutely. I don't.
You'd hate to find out that there was a planned thing to get rid of him. Not that it sounds like he has his problems, but anyway, I got to remind you of this, brother.
Yes.
FM Punk every Thursday at 10 p.m. A radio show dedicated to all different kinds of punk music, including metalcore, hardcore, thrashcore, as well as folk punk and pop punk, hosted by Riley Hogan. That's FM Punk every Thursday at 10 p.m. right here at 90.3 WHPC.
Just to finish this off, brother, Paul Riley was terminated by the North Carolina Courage, and later in the day, because that was Saturday, later in the day, U.S. Soccer suspended his coaching license. So there obviously will be more to this story
right.
as it goes on, and we'll see what happens next weekend with the NWSL schedule.
Well, if I'm the league, I continue it and then set up committees, get Megan in there because she obviously has something to say, but get other people in there too, and don't destroy the league.
They're not. I told you, brother. They're not looking to destroy the league. Nobody is looking to destroy the league, but the players have to be protected. That has to be job one. And if something is happening where players are being put at risk,
risk is the wrong word, brother. Maybe a threat. There's a difference between risk. Risk means that there's definite trouble. A threat is I'm going to lose my job. A risk is a little more serious, I think, than a threat. And I think this is a threat. If a coach says to you, "Hey, honey, why don't you come up to my room and I'll make sure you play next week."
That's the point. He has total control over their careers.
Right.
So that's the point.
That's a threat, though. It's
But any moves like that need to be handled by the clubs or by the league immediately. They can't be allowed to fester for years.
Well, that's a mistake. It's
a huge mistake.
Yeah, but that's different. That's something. If this is going to happen, this has got to happen right away and fix it up. Then, which they're not going to because there's just too much going on right now. You got to get the season over, and then they'll work it out. Anyway, that just about does it from the Press Box. I am Rob Leonard. Joining me, of course, is my brother Tim Leonard. We're here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WHPC. The show becomes a podcast later on at Spreaker.com and wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, et cetera, et cetera. Coming up next, they call him Big Ed. And not Little Ed, but Big Ed. Little Ed's some other guy. Hanging out down in...
he does a Top 40 show.
He does a Top 40, yeah. Anyway, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.